I'm not traditional at all. It's not that I'm against marriage, it just never mattered that much to me. If I was dating someone who getting married was very important to them, then absolutely, I'd have no problem. I love the idea of finding someone to be a great father figure to Jasper and to share my life with. Like every other teenage girl, I was a great fan of Hrithik Sir. This childhood crush was not like others though. The love for him was so deep in my heart that my boarding school hostel room was filled with his posters which I didn't let anyone touch. My heart was broken when I saw him getting married. Craziest thing I've done for love is getting married. I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm never going to say I wouldn't do it again, but I have to make sure it's love and not settling for I have to do this by a certain age, which is kind of what I did. I was close to getting married a long time ago, but it didn't happen, and since then it has not been happening. It is jinxed, and I am very happy. I hope this jinx continues. Everybody dates these days. Like you get to know someone before you end up getting married, committing for a lifetime relationship. So dating is cool, date as much as you want, get to know the person. The night I announced I was getting married, Daddy paced for hours on the porch. I have a lot of friends who, especially in Tennessee, were looking forward to getting married who wanted to wait until it was legal in the state that they live in to get married. When you hear about people in the 50s getting married at 20, you're like, what were they thinking? My grandparents were together for over 50 years. There's a big difference between falling in love with someone and falling in love with someone and getting married. Usually, after you get married, you fall in love with the person even more. Growing up in a Singaporean Chinese family, for me food is almost the primary means of communication between family members, both immediate and extended. Hey, it beats discussing which cousin did better at end of semester exams, or who's getting married next, right? People today expect too much from marriage. Getting married is really like taking on a big new job. I cook a lot of Italian food. Bucatini pomodoro is my best. It's a fat spaghetti with tomato, olive oil, and reminds me of getting married in Italy. We're not getting married right now. We're very, very focused on our respective careers. Marriage is a long way away. Yes, I'm very close to Vikram Bhatt. I was just on the edge of getting married, and I was frenzied at the prospect of this great step in my life after having been a bachelor for so long, and I really wanted to take my mind off of the agony, and so I decided to sit down and write a book. I suspect I was not the first 21-year-old who thought he knew more than he did, and one of the virtues of age, one of the virtues of getting married and becoming a father, is it often leads one to take a more measured approach to life. Writing is like getting married. One should never commit oneself until one is amazed at one's luck. The problem with me, as far as getting married and having a family, is that my comedy is so important to me. So I don't know if I'll ever be as good a dad as my dad. I have been hearing gossip and lies since I began working. When I was 17, I used to get very angry because I opened a magazine and I saw myself in a picture on a motorcycle, and the headline was, "I'm getting married next month. I'm getting married because I'm in love with a girl and want to spend my life with her." You can't live your life doing what other people want you to or you'll be miserable. At some point you just have to be yourself. When Stephen Harper was elected as the new Conservative Prime Minister, and he talked about repealing gay marriage and putting it to a vote in the House of Commons, Elton and I talked about getting married in Canada to make a statement, for ideological and political reasons. You get excited about getting married, but after you're married for a while, you gotta have a process to make it work, I don't see myself getting married again, but if I do, it will be forever. We had common interests in the beauty of the French language. We both had a tremendous love of jazz. We shared dreams of getting married and having a family, living in the country, leading an idyllic life. I shocked my parents with a lot of things, whether it was becoming an actor or when I was dating someone outside the Egyptian community or when I moved away from home before getting married. Football is my profession now. I'm getting married in August. It's a new experience for me as someone just getting out of college. I still have the same attitude about football I always had. I play hard. I enjoy practice. I'd rather be throwing and passing drills than sitting around and watching TV. I don't want to get married for the sake of getting married. My hope is that I have a partner with whom I can continue to take on the world. I had this thesis that we had entered the experience economy. People were getting married later and starting to value experiences like travel over owning things. I'm wide open to getting married, but actors are not easy people to date. You end up sharing that person with this other mistress that is their career. I very much like the traditional courtship method of making a date. That's what they do in normal places, but Hollywood's not normal. Even more than getting married or having kids, I found losing a parent is what thrusts you into adulthood. For me it was. That was when the earth tilted on its axis, and there was a paradigm shift, and I felt like a different person. Almost everything worthwhile carries with it some sort of risk, whether it's starting a new business, whether it's leaving home, whether it's getting married, or whether it's flying in space. Marriage does figure in my life, as I do want to have children, but I could also consider having children without getting married. The primary thing is having a good father, a partner who could be there with me through that journey. Getting married and settling down isn't the most important thing in my life. Moving in is almost a bigger step than getting married. The closest I ever came to getting married was just before I started singing. In fact, my first record saved my neck. In my 20s, I was leaving university, getting married, or having a baby. And then, in my 30s, I was just keeping my head above water. When I hit 40, I thought, I have got to get a grip of my life and really point it in the direction I want it to go rather than just swim hard against the current. For me, the only thing that mattered was getting married in the presence of my family and very close friends. We did not want a big fat wedding. Part of me feels you can't say you were truly in love if it didn't last. If I end up getting married and having kids, that's when I'll know it's real, because it lasted. Getting divorced just because you don't love a man is almost as silly as getting married just because you do. And now they are getting married, and I'm still single. What's wrong with me? Just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. A lot of it is maturity and getting older. You know, sort of getting married and realizing you're not out there for yourself anymore. I found a letter that was written to me from a girl who was getting married, and she wanted to know the secret of a happy marriage. I said, and I wrote back and said something to the effect that I couldn't, I had no magic formula, and I never sat down and thought about it, but everything just fell into place with Ronnie and me. Student loans are delaying retirements. They're suppressing the housing market. They're suffocating new business formation. They're even leading young people to delay getting married and having children. I'm really keen to go back and do some theater, but I can't afford to at the moment because we're getting married in September. And then I'm hoping to direct a film at the end of this year, and that means a year of your life without pay. I came seriously close to getting married 4 times, and each time I backed off in fear or for one reason or another. Each occasion was different, but in hindsight when I look at the people involved, it wasn't a bad thing what I did. I think it may have been more complex had the marriage taken place. Starting in business is like getting married, there is really no good time and no bad time. The time is now. I try to remember, as I hear about friends getting engaged, that it's not about the ring and it's not about the wedding. It's a grave thing, getting married, and it's easy to get swept up in the wrong things. I'm terrified to get married. I'm not getting married till my gay friends can. You never know what your parents are going to say when you tell them you're getting married, especially when it's with someone they haven't met yet. I like getting married, but I don't like being married. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.